What's up, guys? So I'm actually at work taking a break, about to go to my next assignment, but I had an idea I wanted to share real quick. So in regards to having the heart attack and stuff, I have had a cold right foot for over a year. And there's a video I have on my channel about it. Is one of your foot colder than the others? And for the longest time, I've always felt like it was probably a neuropathy thing, without really knowing. My doctor has sent me to a neurologist, and I've had 2 nerve induction tests done on my leg and foot, and they always come back no problem, inconclusive. And so I had suspected, let me go ahead and just go fast forward to now. So since I've had the heart attack, I've also, probably a week prior to having the heart attack, I started noticing my calf was sore. And I'd rub in the center of my right calf. It's the same calf, same side of the leg that my foot gets cold. And I rubbed it, and it just feels like it's pulled and kind of thing, and I can feel a little bump there. So anyways, recently I had complained of this and reached out. I had my heart attack a little over a month ago. I reached out to my primary care. First, I reached out to the heart attack girl, who's not the doctor, but the doctor's nurse. And I said, hey, I've had a pain in my calf for like over a month. And I've had the same foot that the calf has pain in has been cold on and off for over a year. So when I'm sitting down and my leg is at a 45 degree, from thigh to knee, is when it causes it. If I straighten the leg out, like when I'm at home, I'll put my leg straight out, like from butt to straight out, and it seems to alleviate it. It only seems to happen if I have a bend at my knee, and that foot will get cold. If I move it around a little bit and kind of do some butt crunches, I guess, in place while I'm sitting, like butt pumps, it helps. So the feeling kind of comes, but it still feels, colder than the other foot. There's definitely a difference in the way it feels almost all the time. I'm sitting in a chair right now in this van, this company van, and it's colder than my left foot. And it's a mild tingly too, not bad, but a little bit mild tingly. If I go to the bathroom, just sitting there to, do the business, when I get up, that foot's always tingly. It always tingles, and I have to shake it out all the time. It's like I've come to accept it. It's normal. So anyways, I messaged her and I said, hey, I'm kind of concerned about this, because if you guys don't know what DVT, or deep vein thrombosis, is, it's when you get a blood clot in your calf, or a deep vein. Usually they're the extremities, and it'll build because of whatever reason, and then it can dislodge and go to your lung. You get a pulmonary embolism, or your brain, you have a stroke. So they're dangerous. Sometimes these things are not a clot. Sometimes they're a plaque, and like older hardened plaque builds up, and it builds up more and more. Plaque that hasn't burst through your arterial wall is kind of, if you can think of it as just think as if you went camping and you lay your tent down on a moderately sized rock. So that rock hasn't come through the tent canvas, but the rock causes problems. Your back hurts to be, pressed against that rock. And so you want to basically remove the rock, and then it's all smooth. Now, what if the rock is sharp? If the rock is sharp and it pierces through the bottom of that tent as you're laying on it and breaks through, actually, that's what plaque does. Plaque breaks through your arterial wall. And when it does break through, the blood that's in there, I can't remember the name of the blood that's in there inside the vein, but it'll sense that breakthrough and it'll clot it. Its response is to clot it, because it's like a foreign invader. It's a problem. And the clot forms these proteins and fibers. And that's what, it gets bigger and bigger, and then the clot expands and it blocks the blood. This can happen in a matter of minutes once a clot starts to form like that. So clots are dangerous, and plaques are can be dangerous, but if they're stable plaques, and your arterial wall is strong, or your endothelium, which is the inner lining, it would be like in the tent, it would be that thin film that's the tent. That's the lining that prevents the plaque from coming into the vessel. It's actually, plaque's part of the vessel. It's in that micro, it's so small. So it's a part of the vessel, but the lining it would be like the bottom of the tent. lining, and that's your endothelium. It's only 1 cell thick. It's the thinnest protection that you got. And it keeps that plaque from busting through. Because when the plaque busts through, it's going to cause clots. So this thing in my leg, I don't know what it is, but it's sore. It's been there for a little bit, a couple of months now, but the foot's been there for over a year. I think they're correlated. I feel like it's probably plaque and not a clot. And the reason I say this is because I'd contacted her. So she said, this is step one. She said, if you're concerned about it, first of all, I did mention this a while back, and they said, well, you've got so many blood thinners that it can't be a clot happening because you're just on so many blood thinners and you won't clot up. And I accepted the answer, but then I thought about it and I'm like, well, hardened plaque though, older, stable, hardened plaque is not going to be a clot. It's not something that I would clot up. It would be something that already exists. And obviously, if I think this is the same thing, it already did exist and it was causing the cold foot, but maybe it had been growing and growing and growing because I was doing all the bad stuff like vaping and still eating a ton of eggs and my blood pressure when your blood pressure is really high, it makes your arterial wall squeeze harder. All of this is a synergistic effect to make plaque a problem, which is what causes these things to happen to us. And I thought, well, I don't think it's a new clot. I think it's an old plaque that maybe we want to look at it and be sure. Because if it's an old stable plaque, what's probably going to happen is my body's going to slowly reduce it since I'm not doing the bad things to myself anymore. Your body will eventually heal. It takes a long time to resolve old plaques, but if I knew that it was an old plaque and it wasn't a blood clot or a potential blood clot, my mind would be more at ease. And so they said, well, it can't possibly be a clot, so don't worry about it. And I was like, okay, well, I am worried about it, and my calf still hurts, and my foot's still cold. So I messaged her again. This was about a month later, and she said, if you're really that concerned about it, then sign up for what they call a Planet Heart, which is a heart screening, and they do plaque screening in your body. So I did call to do that, to sign up for Planet Heart locally here, but they're booked out until August. And so my concern is, I want to know what it is for sure, and if it's something to be worried about, then let's act on it now. If it's not, then I'm fine with letting it resolve or whatever. I just want to know. I don't like the unknown, and it's annoying. My calf hurts. If it's actually a pulled muscle, that should resolve in what, a week? It's been months, and it's suspicious to me. And so once I found out that my Planet Heart appointment is too far, I contacted my PCP in our portal. We can use an app and contact our people directly. And I said, hey, I'm concerned about this. Is there anything we can do? And he goes, his nurse called me like within 30 minutes and said, hey, what's going on? And I said, I've got a painful calf that it won't resolve, and I've got a cold foot. And she said, well, with your history, we want you to go to the ER. Okay, so I went to the ER. The doctor that was attending the ER told me that he was going to do 2 tests. He said they're going to do this blood pressure at the ankle and at my arm to see the difference. I don't know what it is. It's a comparison, I guess. And then he said they were going to do some type of scan, CAT scan, I think he said, a CT. And then, but they went in, they debated all this. He came back, he did the pressure thing, but he didn't do the and they also did an ultrasound where they kind of looked at blood flow at each extreme, but they didn't do the scan. And I wanted them to scan my calf. Look at what's in there. Just all you got to do is see if a clot or a plaque or whatever is in there. If you see it, you know that's it. If you don't, then it's obviously got to be something else. But they ended up not doing that, so it kind of made me upset. I stayed in there for about an hour and a half, and then he sent me home and he goes, hey, if it gets worse, if your leg starts to get hot or swollen, or he said your foot seems to have good blood flow in it. And of course I was like, well, I'm laying on a bed where my knee's not bent, so it's going to be at its best right now. That's typically whenever it feels normal. And when I stand up and walk around, it feels normal. Because again, that's the straightening of that 45-degree bend at the knee. And so and that's okay for me. If it means that it's so insignificant at this point, it's not really a big threat, I'm okay. I just want someone who knows to say that rather than play this guessing game, which bothers me. So I messaged my PCP and I said, hey, he didn't do the test. He didn't do the Doppler, I think it's sonogram or whatever. And I said, I'm really concerned about this. This is causing me stress. And what can we do? Is there like, there's no way to get this test done just to rule it out? And so they messaged me back yesterday and said, hey, we don't think that it is a clot or a plaque. My doctor thinks that it's neuropathy, which again, I've already had 2 nerve induction tests that say that it's not. So I don't know why he thinks that, but pinched at the butt, basically. But I told my wife, I said, if that's the case, then sitting in the chair with my legs straight out still pinches at my butt. So it should still be numb, but it's not. It's only number when I bend it at the knee, which bends the arteries and the nerves. But you know, I don't know. So they messaged me and said, hey, we're going to go ahead and do this sonic test, basically to help you feel better about it, and we'll get that done. I've already had all my deductibles are going to be met this year, so I'm not worried about the cost, because Lord knows, with me going into the hospital for having the heart attack, it's already going to be maxed out for my deductible. So I don't care. Honestly, we need to get all the tests done now this year, because I'm going to end up paying the max deductible anyways. And so I tomorrow will have that, I think they call it Doppler sonogram ultrasound done on my calf, and I think they're going to see a plaque or a small clot. You know, I'm not 100%, but that's what I think they're going to see there, because it's painful, and it's constantly causing me cold foot. I will let you guys know the results of that. And other than that, I feel good. They've been pushing my exercise intensity up just a little bit at the cardio rehab. They said that I'm doing amazing there, and I feel fantastic with that. And I've been doing great with energy levels, and I'm doing housework and yard work and stuff like that. So I'm on the mend. I just need to see what's in my calf and what's causing my foot to still be cold, because it's a concern. It stands to reason that if I had plaque build up in my heart, which caused my heart attack, it's not like that plaque buildup in my body is only going to be found in my heart. Anytime you have something where a plaque builds up in your body, it happens globally. It's just that the heart was the first thing to yell about it, unless you count my cold foot, which could have been a thing too. But you probably have plaque starting in the brain, starting in your calf, starting for some guys their appendage, and then they can't perform. There's so many places where the plaque can cause problems, or clots, or any of that stuff. So anyways, I'm gonna take care of that and give you guys an update later.